Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Betting the Big, presented by RoarLionsRoar.com. I am your host, Nick Pollock, and I am joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Mr. Matthew Filipovitz. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. We did all right in week one. I'm excited to bounce back in here for week two. I think we can do better.
Yeah, I agree. And before we go any further, make sure if you like the show, hit that subscribe button right down there. Go ahead and click that alert button as well so you can get your Big Ten betting advice the second it is released, because we know that you are relying on us and that you are counting on us to guide you in your gambling ways. At least you should be, because we had a pretty good week last week.
Good picks. Ignore the bad picks. Only focus on the good picks.
Yeah, that goes without saying. Like, if we make a bad pick, it's your fault for believing us. If we make a good one, then you're welcome. Speaking of good picks, we started off pretty well, especially when you consider how difficult it is to pick week one, especially in college football, because really we don't know anything. But Matt and I, we both went 4-3 with our first round of picks. We both correctly picked Ohio State minus the points over Nebraska. We both also correctly picked Rutgers plus the points over Michigan State. We diverged a little bit.
Rutgers outright, baby. Rutgers outright.
We diverged a little bit from there. I correctly picked Indiana and Purdue, while Matt correctly picked Michigan and Northwestern. And unfortunately, we both missed on Illinois as they got smacked around by Wisconsin a good bit. Graham Mertz looked a lot better than I think either one of us expected.
Big time.
And we did also both nail our big picks, which we're going to talk about a little scoring system for that later on. But I took Ohio State minus the points, and Matt took Rutgers plus the points with full confidence, and we were both completely correct. So great for us. The Roar Lions Roar community did not have as great a start as we did, going 2-5 in week one. The only correct picks the community had were Ohio State and Rutgers. There were some close ones. It was like a 57% chose one way or the other. So it was close in some cases, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Luckily, though, starting this week, you are no longer going to have to rely on the person sitting next to you virtually. Instead, you're going to get to choose all on your own and be entered for a chance to win a very special prize. We're going to talk about that a bit more at the end of the show. But Matt, given that we now have things to talk about from the previous week, we're going to introduce a new little segment here. I already talked about our mistakes from the week before, but every week we are going to get exactly 10 seconds, I'm not going to put a timer on anyone, but 10 seconds to apologize to someone, a coach, a team, a player, a deity, an entity somewhere else in the universe. But you're going to get 10 seconds to apologize for your transgressions from the week before.
Okay.
I will start because I owe our beloved Wildcats a dear, dear apology. So
shameful.
Dear Peyton Ramsey and the Northwestern offense, I am so sorry for doubting you and your deep dish-filled rage against all that has been the Wildcat offense for the last 3 presidential terms. You're better than that. I'm sorry.
Wow. That's a big statement.
They deserved it. They earned that apology. Matt, who would you like to apologize to?
I'm going to apologize to Graham Mertz and the Wisconsin offense. I didn't expect you to look that good without Jonathan Taylor and Jack Cohn. But, hey, you're not playing this week, so it kind of evens out in the wash. I was right that you really ended up losing the weekend if you think about it.
Yeah, before we go any further, we'll quickly note Wisconsin and Nebraska will not be playing this weekend after Graham Mertz, Paul Chryst, their backup quarterback, maybe some other people at this point, I'm not even sure, all tested positive for COVID-19 and confirmed to test positive. So they all have to now sit out at least 21 days. And due to all of that, this game has been canceled, not postponed, canceled. So we will not get a chance to find out if Wisconsin can cover a 3-point spread at Nebraska without its second or third string quarterbacks and with a kid named Vandenboom starting instead. So that's a little unfortunate, but that's the reality we live in.
Best of luck to everybody at Wisconsin. Hope everybody gets healthy quick.
Yes, hopefully there are no complications and everyone is able to bounce back quickly and be ready to go, whether it's playing football or just being a human being. So moving on, let's jump right in here, Matt. Let's talk about week 2 in the Big Ten. Starting off on Friday, October 30th at 7:30 p.m. in College Park, we have Minnesota favored by 20 points on the road at Maryland. That's a lot of points. What are you thinking here?
That's a lot of points for two offenses that looked bad, but I think Minnesota looked bad against a better team. So I'm going to take them to go out there and cover. I don't know. Nothing Maryland did gave me any confidence that they can score. And I still think that Minnesota has enough dudes to go out there and put up some points. So give me the Golden Gophers here to the tune of like 35-10, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I think we underestimated how much Minnesota was losing on defense. I think we underestimated the impact of what losing guys like Antoine Winfield Jr. was going to have. The problem is I don't think Maryland is the team that can exploit those defensive losses the way Michigan did. So I do think Minnesota wins here. I have it at 31-10, so I have them just barely covering those 20 points. But Matt, you and I are both going with the under on this because the under for this game is 60.5 points. So we are pretty significantly under that line.
Yep, take that under. That line doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that's like I've said this before. I'm always a little nervous when my opinion is that far divulged from Vegas, but this kind of seems like a no-brainer to me. Moving on to Saturday at noon in what is always one of the weirdest rivalry games of the season, we have Michigan State visiting Michigan. Michigan is a 24.5-point favorite at home. I'll start here because I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to take Michigan State plus the points. I know
you hate that pick. I can already tell you hate that pick.
I know Michigan State is not going to turn the ball over 6 times every week like they did against Rutgers in week 1.
You don't know that.
That's true. I don't know that for sure, but I think it is fair to say that was the driving force behind that loss. And I'm betting that if they hadn't lost that game, I'm sure Michigan would still be favored handily here, but I don't think it would be over 3 touchdowns worth of points in their favor. So I have, knowing the weird things that happen in this game every single year, I'm taking Michigan to win comfortably, but I have it Michigan 31, Michigan State 17. So I do have Sparty covering.
Yeah, give me Michigan minus anything here. That Michigan offense is humming with a pretty good quarterback, and Josh Gaddis in year 2 looks really settled in. And the fact that Michigan State defense couldn't do very much against Rutgers at home makes me nervous. So give me the Wolverines here, something like 52-6. I think this one's going to be a blowout.
So the over-under for this game is at 53 points. So Matt almost has them taking that over right on completely on their own, them being Michigan. I have my prediction would have this ended up at about right around 48 points. So I'm taking the under here personally.
All right. Fair enough.
Moving on, also at noon on Saturday, we have the 1-0 Purdue Boilermakers visiting Illinois. Purdue is a 7-point road favorite here. I'm going to let you start. I feel pretty good about my prediction. I'm going to let you start, though.
Okay. This game doesn't appeal to me at all. I'm not interested in either of these teams, really. But I think Purdue looked better than I think a lot of people were expecting, and Illinois looked a lot worse. But still, I think Brandon Peters and Lovie Smith ran into a buzzsaw in week 1. That Wisconsin team with a really good quarterback now is a tough one to beat. So you said the Illini are getting points at home?
They're getting 7 points at home.
Now, give me the Illini plus the pointer, and give me the Illini outright, and make it my big pick of the week. I was going to take Nebraska over Wisconsin as my big pick. I can't do that anymore. So give me the fighting Lovie Smiths here to win outright, something in the realm of 28-24.
28-24. So I agree with you. I think, you know me, I love Purdue. I love what David Bell can do, and I don't recall having seen any information on if Rondale Moore is playing or not yet.
I haven't seen anything yet either.
But I think 7 points is too much for Purdue to be getting on the road in a game against a team that is not hapless. Illinois, they didn't put up too much of a fight against Wisconsin in week 1, but they were a lot better than I think that scoreline indicates. So I agree with you. I think Illinois actually takes this one outright. So I'm going to take Illinois plus that 7 points. I have Illinois winning this 27-24. I think they score a late touchdown to win and kind of pull a reversal on Purdue of what happened last week. The over-under here is 58.5 points. I am under that. You are 40, 56. So you are also under that. Yep.
I'm under that.
So we're both taking the under there. This next one, I didn't write it down. I don't know if it's at noon or 3:30. Not that it matters, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's 3:30.
I think it's
we have Indiana, fresh off their huge upset of Penn State, a 10.5-point road favorite at your Scarlet Knights.
That's a bad game.
I will start. I think an important question we need to ask ourselves here. Would Indiana losing this game be the most Indiana thing to ever happen or the most 2020 thing to ever happen?
I
Either
need
way,
I need Indiana to lose this game and then to go out there and beat either Ohio State or Michigan, and that will be the most chaos season for the most chaos team in the most chaos year.
it would be quite poetic, especially if you can stack a Maryland loss on there too. Oh boy,
Ah,
that'd be
we
magical.
need it.
Um, I I like Indiana. I mean, we've always liked Indiana. They've always been a solid, not always. They have been a solid team for the last few years, and they were going to get that big win eventually. It's unfortunate that it happened against Penn State, but you knew it was coming at some point. I think this is a lot of points for a road team in a huge, just massive letdown spot after their first top 10 win in, I don't even, a crazy long time.
I
To
think
go on
87.
87, to go on the road and be a double digit favorite at a school that, yes, it was a turnover fueled win, but they still won week one. I'm going to take Rutgers plus the points here. I do think Indiana wins, but I have Rutgers just barely covering the spread. I have Indiana 24, Rutgers 14. So covering
Okay.
by half a point.
Okay. Let me talk you into 2-0, first place in the Big Ten, Rutgers Scarlet Knights. This Rutgers team is good. We can all laugh at Rutgers because they've been a laughingstock for pretty much all of our lives at this point, but Greg Schiano knows how to coach, and I think Indiana's coming off the biggest win, arguably in their program history, and a game, frankly, they didn't deserve to win. So I really think this Rutgers team is going to come out here looking to prove a point. I think Indiana's in a prime letdown spot. I'm not sold on Michael Penix, and I think this Rutgers offense can move the ball. So give me Rutgers outright to the tune of, let's say, 28-20. Give me about a one-score win.
All right. The over-under for this game is setting at 52.5 points. So again, we're both under. We're really not seeing a lot of scoring happening this week in the Big Ten. At least
the
not
Big
as much
Ten.
as
It's the Big Ten in late October. What do you expect?
Does the late October rule count when it's week 2? How does that translate?
Depends how cold it's going to be.
That's fair. Moving on, also at 3:30 on Saturday, we have our Northwestern Wildcats visiting the Iowa Hawkeyes. Despite the fact that Northwestern is 1-0 and Iowa is 0-1, Iowa still getting favorite status here. They are favored by 2.5 points here at home. What are you thinking?
I like Northwestern a lot in this spot. I think Northwestern's getting really disrespected. I think that defense is really good, and Peyton Ramsey knows what he's doing. And all of a sudden, Northwestern's offensive coordinator doesn't think it's 1982. So that's a really good sign. So I think the Wildcats can really come out strong here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up Sunday morning and we're in a world where Rutgers is 2-0 and Northwestern is 2-0, and maybe Penn State has a loss, and with any luck, Ohio State has a loss. So it's going to be a really, really bizarre time. But give me the Wildcats here to the tune of 35-17.
I think if by Sunday Northwestern and Rutgers are both 2-0, I think at that point we just have to split off from Roar Lions Roar, and we just have to start our own Northwestern/Rutgers blog at that point.
Listen, we got the connections at this point.
So I agree with you. I think Northwestern plus the points here. I also have Northwestern winning outright, actually. I have Northwestern winning this game 26-20. I just don't think Iowa is very good. And Northwestern, you really only need a half decent offense in order to be a pretty solid team. And it looks like they have that. I mean, we know Peyton Ramsey is a good quarterback. We saw him last year at Indiana do some nice things. So it seems like they have their guy, and I don't see this Wildcat train slowing down just yet. I have them taking this on the road 26-20, like I said. The over-under for this game is 46.5. So we are both – no, actually, I'm under that. I'm right at 46. So I'm under 46, but you are over. So
barely. Not by much, I don't think. Yeah, it's a big week for underdogs, apparently, here at the site.
Yeah, seriously. Before we move into our last game, real quick note, if you don't follow the blog on Twitter or you don't check the website, you might not know. But if you like the stuff that I'm wearing right now, this beautiful sweatshirt or Matt's beautiful Tutties t-shirt right here, you might be interested in our new sweatshirt commemorating Deion Butler's famous speech against Ohio State back in, honestly, I don't know what year it was, but whatever year it was. our beautiful sweatshirt that reads, "We are not normal. We are Penn State." It's a
We
great,
are
great.
legends.
Oh, sorry. We are
The
legends.
shirt says,
Excuse me.
"We are legends." Nick, come on.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not looking at it right now, so I'm trying to focus on my ad read here.
Fair enough.
So that is available for pre-order right now. We're only going to make them if we get enough of those pre-orders. I know we are very close. These sweatshirts are incredibly comfortable. I know that I'm a biased source, but this is my favorite sweatshirt to wear. It's unbelievably comfortable, and I'm sure you would love it if you ordered one. The last Big Ten game of week 2, 7:30 Saturday in Happy Valley. Ohio State favored by 12 points on the road at Penn State. What are you thinking?
That line's too big, man. That line's huge. That line tells me people in Vegas just saw that Penn State lost and didn't see how they lost. This line I don't understand at all. This game is always close. For the past, pretty much since 2013. 2013 was really the last blowout we saw. I think this is a Penn State team that can really keep pace with Ohio State. And I think Penn State's defense is going to force some big plays. But at the end of the day, offense is going to reign supreme. So I think it's a heartbreaker. I think Penn State really plays well. I think they bounce back pretty well. And give me the Buckeyes here, 42-35 over the Lions.
Yeah, I agree. I think anybody who watched the game last week knows that Penn State was a lot better than the final score looked. A lot of mental mistakes, a lot of penalties, both warranted
35
and
points in a first-time offensive coordinator's game after a pandemic. That's really good.
Yeah, especially when you consider the turnovers, the penalties, warranted and unwarranted, the injuries, just a lot of things going into that. I think they're going to be a lot better this week. I think they'll have some time to correct some of those things, especially the special teams blunders. I think with some time to kind of reinvent what the running game is going to be with Devin Ford as the lead back now instead of Noah Cain, I think is going to look a little more suited to his skill set. I think Ohio State does win this game. I have Ohio State winning 38-34. I think Penn State keeps it close. I think they comfortably cover that spread. Penn State is my big pick of the week to cover that 12 points. I feel pretty good about that. This game is just, even when it isn't actually close like last year, it still ends up feeling close and looking close. So I think 12 points is way too much on the road. I know there's no whiteout factor, but still. The over-under here was 63.5, so we are both way over that.
Take the over.
Yeah. So really quick to run back through I'll do that in a second. So really quick, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to start something new this week on RoarLionsRoar.com, starting a new contest. So instead of counting on your internet neighbors to make the same picks as you in order to prove that you're smarter than us, instead, we're going to let you ride solo here. So starting this week, if you go on the website, there's a Google form at the bottom of the post where Matt and I kind of summarize all of our picks. If you enter your Roar Lions Roar username as well as your picks, I will track them for the entire season. And at the end of the year, whichever Roar Lions Roar community member has the most correct picks, you will win a free t-shirt from our RoarLionsRoar.com store. Just like the sweatshirt.
Store Lions Store. Is it the
Store Lions Store? I forgot that we actually named it Store Lions Store. It's great.
The best joke in the world.
But you'll get a choice of whatever shirt is in the store at that time, or if we don't have your size at that moment, you can wait until we get a new design, whatever it is you want to be. This offer is going to be limited to members of RoarLionsRoar.com. I will be checking to make sure you actually are registered on the site. So if you want to participate, be sure to register beforehand so you can get counted and have this first week count towards your totals. So before we wrap things up here, I'll really quickly run through Matt and I's picks. Minnesota -20 at Maryland. Both of us took Minnesota. Both of us took under 60.5 points. Michigan State at Michigan. Michigan favored by 24.5 points. I took Michigan State plus the points. Matt took Michigan minus the points. I was under 53 points. Matt was over 53 points. Purdue -7 at Illinois. We both have Illinois covering and winning outright, and we are both under that 58.5 point line. Indiana, 10.5 point favorites on the road at Rutgers. We both have Rutgers winning. Matt has them winning outright. We are both
2-0 Rutgers. Get on board, folks.
We are both under that 52.5 points, however. Northwestern at Iowa. Iowa favored by 2.5. We both have Northwestern plus the points. We both have Northwestern outright. And we both have over 46.5 points. And Ohio State, a 12-point favorite on the road at Penn State. We both have Penn State plus the points, and we both have over 63.5. I think that about does it for betting the big week 2 here from Roar Lines or Matt. Any final thoughts before we head out?
Greg Shia 2-0. I'm all aboard. I'm all in.
Oh my God. As always, thank you for watching and thank you for following along. Be sure that you hit that subscribe button below. Be sure to also make sure you're visiting roarlinesroar.com. Make sure you're following the podcast. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. We're going to be kind of ramping things up and more as the season gets going and we get back into our groove of things. Make sure you visit the website to enter our contest. Enter your chance to win a free t-shirt from the store. And be on the lookout on the website for more coverage, preview coverage for the Ohio State-Penn State game coming up here. It's going to be a big one, going to be an important one. I know Penn State's 0-1 right now, possibly looking at 0-2, but this is still a really important game for the fabric of the Big Ten right now. So make sure you look out for that preview coverage as well as the next episode of the podcast. So for myself, Nick Pollock, and my co-host Matt Filipovitz, thanks for watching. Go State.
Go State.